Hey, for this afternoon, we're at Panorama Point here at Badlands National Park, and it is 96 degrees and very windy. So let's take a quick look at what the landscape offers us. Over there to the left a little bit is where the main trail leads you up, and you just have an overview of the whole place. But I figured over here on this side where these trails take off, and then we can get out onto one of the spines of these Badlands formations. We're then going to have the awesome clouds up there. We're going to have the sun raking across these various hoodoo formations, and I think it's going to be pretty sweet. So let's head on out there and see what we can find. See, it's sceneries like this that just really, I don't know, they're just awesome. I might want to wander over that way. That's to the west where the sun is setting, of course. And then I would shoot back over this way. But I'm liking where I'm at here because that spot over there in the background, I have a good angle on it, I believe. And if I'm over there, I'd probably still have a pretty good angle on it. I certainly do have time to figure this out here 3 hours before the sun sets, so there's plenty of time to wander and figure this out. One thing I was hoping that I would be able to do is get down on this hoodoo thing here, but let's take a look at that real quick. That's a little bit on the steep side of things. I really don't feel safe doing that at all, so I'm not gonna do that one. I've walked out here where I mentioned, in this grassy area, about 3/4 of the way out, and it's looking really promising. So let's take a look at the landscape and see what I mean by it's looking really promising. So out there off to the left, we've got these formations. Of course, if I go way to the left, I've got so many more formations, but these are going to be just flatly lit by the sun because they are exactly opposite the sun. They're not going to be very exciting as the sun goes down. As we get over into this region here, we start to see some of those shadows. That's where some of that excitement in the shape and the form is going to happen. And then certainly as we get over here, off in the distance, those are the things that I'm really interested in. Those are the things that just are exciting me about this shot. And then as I'm coming out here and looking, if I can get out on one of these forms here, I then have the opportunity to do a really massive pano. Of course, this is called Panorama Point overlook. But anyway, I have an opportunity to do a massive pano from way over here in this area all the way stretching over here. And the reason I like that is because it has that transition to the grasses where we have these big, huge formations, and then it transitions over to the grassland area where then those formations start to just they pop up every once in a while here and there. That super intrigues me, so I'm thinking that's going to be the shot I'm going to make. Of course, I'm kind of predicting something without having been here at this specific spot before, and who knows what's exactly going to happen with the weather and all that. As I'm looking about too, the clouds are extremely interesting, and currently there's no contrails. Well, there's a very slight one. I now see a very, very faint one over there. And that's just exciting. And there's no contrails in my scene at the current moment. I've got another couple hours as I'm going to be making this image, so maybe a plane will fly by, but it's kind of nice to not have those contrails. So I continue on, I'm pushing forward and gonna see just exactly what comes about. Of course, as I'm walking, I need to be careful where we've got some cactus, and with that and the risk of rattlesnakes, I just want to be careful where I step and make sure that I'm not going to hurt myself, because I've got my Keen water shoes on, which by coming out here like this I probably should have just put my boots on. But anyway, all right, pushing on, looking for more great images. This is just some of the best landscape ever, I tell you what. Out on top here, and I'm able to then see that other formation down below there, the nice multicolored items that are happening in that formation. Absolutely love it. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get that one specifically, but I'm going to continue walking out on these items to see if I can frame it up so I also include that one, because that would bring in some interest in the foreground too, to where I have it receding and those grasslands receding in towards those formations. So let's carefully walk on out here and see what we can find. There's also lots of interest just in the top of the formation here, the mud formation. You know, all these patterns and cracks and flow lines. Lots of little interest stuff there too. All right, see, as we come up here, you know, we could slide off that way, we could slide off this way. We want to be real careful with what we're doing up here. And I'm just, you know, with every step, I'm really feeling it, trying to make sure, I mean, it's got to be solid. It's a big, massive piece of stuff here, but now it's getting to the point where I'm just not sure I feel comfortable going further because it's so windy. And if that wind blows me off just a little bit, and then I trip up, and then I tumble and thud at the bottom, I'm just not looking forward to that. So what I think I'll do is I'm going to backtrack a little bit, and I'm going to be looking for a composition that can still work. And then maybe when the wind dies down, maybe that will be the time where I can go out there. Maybe I'll even take off my backpack and I'll just go out there with the tripod and camera only. Looking back at the viewpoint over there, there's some interest there. It's just not as interesting as what's behind me now. So I'm gonna still try and shoot that direction. I just need to find a different spot where I don't have fear of massive injury, because massive injury is not the name of my game. I am looking forward to returning to the family. Well, I think I finally found my spot here. I'm going to turn around the camera so you can see. We have some shadow here in the foreground. The background is nicely lit, so a big cloud is going overhead. But I think I've got some good stuff here. Even this foreground element that I'm pretty much standing on, I could use. I'm not sure I'm going to use it. I'm probably going to look further out. But you know, I can look this way a little bit too and get some of these forms. Look this way and get some of these forms possibly. There's just a lot of opportunity here, I believe, and this will at least be my starting point. I don't think I'm going to go any further, but I'll start here and then work back if I need to. But right here too, this is not going to be that wide-scaping panorama that I had envisioned just moments ago. This is going to be probably taken care of in one frame, especially if I put on the 16-35. I'm not going to need to worry about making some kind of pano. I like the clouds up above. I love the foreground that we have here, you know, down below. I do see this probably end up being 60% sky, 40%, you know, landscape kind of an idea, or even more. Probably where it's going to be 70% sky. All right, time to put this away and get the big camera out and start making some pictures. Well, I did it. Started off over there like, you know, I did. I walked back over here to this original spot where I said, I can't go any further. So let me show you the shot here that shows you how far I did go out. So this is a wide angle, not intended to be pretty, but hey, it still might be pretty cool. And then I did get the pano like I was hoping. I still wasn't able to get to the very end. As you can see in that initial shot, I was not at the end of this formation. If I could have gotten to the end of this formation safely, I would have had everything before me. All the foreground elements, that one striped spine, whatever you want to call it, hoodoo shape, whatever, Badlands shape coming here in the foreground. But that's this part that I'm on. When I was going out there, I'll bring up that image again, you'll see that there's this section of the top where it's just sloped, and there's no way. I was like, nope, that's too narrow. It's sloped, it's got this little gravelly stuff on top of it. I'm just not gonna even try that. I'm already risking too much getting out there the way I did. So I then turned around and shot back this way, up towards the visitors, well, not the visitor center, but the trail where the gangplank is, the boardwalk is, and then I got a panel from behind, and I also got a panel that way. I almost think actually I'm going to enjoy the panel behind because the forms back here have much more distinct shadows than out this way where I was initially looking at. Also, as I came back here, I was like, you know, looking back here at the sun and the clouds and what's happening here. It looks like we have a storm rolling in. So it's about to cover the sun. I was like, if I'm going to get out there, I'm going to get out there now. And I can already see as I'm looking out there, here in the foreground it's still bright and sunny, but way out there in the background, that's where the sun is starting to be just not going to come through as strongly because of those clouds. So I got out there just in time, it seems. And if this is a rainstorm, it might be a rainstorm. We're supposed to have a significantly cooler day tomorrow. It was got up to about 96 today, and yeah, tomorrow is supposed to be significantly cooler. Usually that means rain is going to be in the forecast as well, which would stink because that means the stuff I want to be able to do here, virtually impossible, because this stuff that I'm walking on is everywhere in the park, and it becomes a super slick, goopy-goppy mess when it becomes wet. And if you try walking on it, it just sticks to your shoes, and it just more and more sticks to your shoes, and all of a sudden it's like you're ice skating because you've got this thick layer of goo stuck to your shoe, and it's just no fun to walk around in at all. So if I have, yeah, if it rains tomorrow, that's gonna stink because that means it's a full wasted day, and I might just decide to go home, who knows. I'm hoping to do a 5-mile hike tomorrow, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. A couple of the other places close by are not open, or otherwise, you know, I just haven't researched them enough to go and shoot them, and my project is here. I want to stay here and do this shoot. So hopefully that doesn't turn into too much of a rain, and we'll keep our fingers crossed, say a prayer, and we'll just see what happens. I have a feeling though now, for tonight, I'm probably done. I think I'm gonna go hang out up at the boardwalk, because if the light happens to do something magically, I want to be here available for it. And the wind has died down enough. I don't need this on anymore. That's rather tight. So yeah, I'll just go up and hang out up there, and we'll see what comes of the rest of our evening. So to finish out our day, it was looking really good, and then the clouds decided to do this. You can see that form right in front of the sun itself. That's what's keeping the clouds over here in front of my subject from looking real good. Those clouds, as you can see behind me, are looking awesome, but they could be better if they were nicely lit and just bringing this place to life. But it still has some mood, still has some good stuff anyway. Some other people have joined me. So that concludes this second day of shooting here at Badlands National Park, and not sure where I'm going to go tomorrow. I haven't planned it out yet, but stay tuned. We're going to have more for you here from Badlands, and we'll end it out with just a few of the images that I didn't get to talking about yet today, and we'll see you next time. Until then, happy shooting.